Yu-Gi-Oh! Has changed so much from its earlier days, and at some point, it just became too convoluted for a lot of older fans to keep up. Every new series introduces a new summoning mechanic, and instead of making the game more exciting, it just adds another layer of complexity that makes it harder for both casual and returning players to jump back in. Back in the early days, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was all about tribute summons, fusions, and the occasional ritual summon. Simple but strategic. But then came GX introduced contact fusion. Okay, not too bad. 5D's synchro summoning. Cool, but a bit complex. Zexal XZ summoning. Now you're stacking monsters on top of each other. Arc V pendulum summoning. This one broke the game for a while. Vrains link summoning completely changed the field setup. At some point, it stopped feeling like a strategy card game and more like a math test with overly complicated mechanics. Instead of focusing on fun, creative deck building, it became about memorizing a rulebook full of exceptions, chains, and interactions that most people don't have the patience for. And honestly, the fast paced, one turn kill meta has taken away a lot of the suspense and creativity of the game. Duels used to be about outsmarting your opponent, not just summoning five monsters in one turn and ending the game instantly. The charm of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Was that anyone could pick up a deck and play. But now, unless you study the mechanics like a college course, it just feels exhausting. The core mechanics of Yu-Gi-Oh! Were already solid. Monster cards, spell cards, and trap cards created a perfect balance of strategy, risk, and reward. The game didn't need all these extra layers of summoning gimmicks. Instead of constantly reinventing how duels work, they should have just expanded the game by introducing more unique monster effects without breaking the game, better designed spell and trap cards to keep strategies fresh, stronger archetypes that encourage creative deck building. That way, the game evolves naturally without alienating older players or making it too complicated for newcomers. But instead, they kept overhauling the mechanics, making older strategies obsolete, and forcing players to constantly relearn the game. It's like if chess suddenly introduced a new type of piece every few years. At some point, it stops feeling like chess. The worst part? Power creep has gotten out of control. Now, most games end in one or two turns because modern decks can summon multiple boss monsters instantly, negating the need for any actual strategy beyond whoever goes first wins. They had a perfectly good foundation, and if they had just refined it rather than overcomplicating it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Could have stayed accessible, balanced, and fun for everyone, both old and new players.